Welcome back to another edition of the Journal. In this episode, we finally get our shot at climbing to the highest point in Death Valley National Park, Telescope Peak. Telescope Peak is the highest point within Death Valley and is also the highest point within the Panamint Range of mountains. It lies within Inyo County and reaches an altitude of 11,049 feet.
Well, good morning. Today is Sunday and sunrise over Death Valley. Sun is coming up over the east. That's the main part of the valley down below. Bad Waters down there, along with Furnace Creek and Stovepipe Wells. And we're up here at 8,300 feet at Mahogany Flats. It's a little chilly last night, but I do have my stove going, the G stove going in the Lavu, so it's nice and toasty in there. But once you get out of there, though, and you start walking around, it's a little chilly. It's a little warmer than we thought. It was supposed to be, when we went to bed last night, it was 36. Thought it would drop, but according to my thermometer, it's 43 outside and 69 so far as the stove heats up inside my Lavu. Today is going to be an exciting day for us. Today's the day we're going to do Telescope Peak. So it's only about a little after 6 this morning. It's 10 after 6 or something like that. And hopefully we'll be out here we're hoping to be done with breakfast and packed up and on the trail before 8, I hope. In the meantime, the sun is coming up over Death Valley. Now I've got the G stove going here in the Lavu. And got my water kettle up on top. Going to make me some coffee this morning. Well, this is a little more distant view from our campsite. There's Gerry's Tahoe. The sun rising over Death Valley. But as I spin around, you can see the frost that's come over the last few days. We got a little snow up here a couple of days ago, and it looks like it's still holding out pretty much. It's going to take a while to melt. I believe that's Rogers Peak up there. That's the one with the communication towers. There's actually a fire road that goes up there. You can see it on the side of the hill. And as we spin around, it's still early. It's still only 6:20 or so. Oh, good morning. Today is our Telescope Peak day. It's a little after 8 in the morning. We're going to be leaving from Mahogany Flats Campground, about 8,000 feet, just a little bit above that. And we're going to be going to 11 today. First, we got to get to the trailhead. We parked at the far end, so we got to climb uphill just to get to the trailhead. Had that distance to our hike today. But I guess it's better than parking down below at Thorndike or even Wild Rose and having to start from there. I'm already out of breath. Anyway, should be a good day today. About 14 miles. Looks nice and clear. Beautiful day up here. Ooh, I'm already out of breath. All right, well, we're at the Telescope Peak trailhead, so hopefully it won't be that snowy when we get up there, but 7 miles from this point. Well, this is the sign-in register for Telescope Peak. We'll add our names to this list, and away we go. Well, we've only been climbing for 15 minutes since we left the car. We've already gained probably 300-400 feet. But wow, what a view of the valley already. As we're looking over toward Mount Charleston, way off in the distance, toward Vegas. Last night we could see lights from Pahrump over the horizon. It was pretty cool. We had a long way to go today. It's gonna be a tough climb. Now we're working our way up. Still have this phenomenal view looking across the desert, Badwater. Steep climb to start. On our way to Telescope Peak. Still can't get over what a tremendous view it is from up here along the trail, Telescope Peak. This first mile or two is kicking our ass. A while back, Gerry checked GPS. We were at 0.84, so we're probably closing in on a mile right now. 6 more to go. Run into a few snow patches, but they're easy to walk around as we work our way up. It's still steep. That's where we're going. Whew. Working our way up this steep section. It's going to take the wind out of our sails a little bit, but hopefully when we get to the top up there, it'll level out. It's supposed to. Guess we'll find out in a minute when we get up there. Well, we're working our way up this steep section on our way up to the top, and kind of directly in the sun. I don't know if you'll be able to see the incline, but it's quite a bit. But we've got tremendous views from here as we work our way up. On the other side, hopefully, is a little leveler spot. All right, we're working our way up this slope. There's Telescope over there, and Bennett Peak is in front of us. And we're going to be working our way along the trail up to the backside of Bennett, it looks like. All right, well, we've worked our way up a little bit. We've got Peak in view here. Kind of looks like it has the same shape as Telescope, but it might not be because we haven't hiked far enough to get a good view of Telescope yet. So, could be Bennett, we're not sure. When we get up here, we'll get a better look, I hope.
Pinyon pine and the sweet-smelling mountain mahogany line the trail, reaching high overhead to compete for light. Hiking through this forested tunnel, the trees obscure all but the slightest views of the valley floor, sitting at over 8,000 feet below. In less than a mile, the vegetation finally gives way to the first of many unobstructed and breathtaking views into Death Valley.
We can see Telescope Peak from here.
Huh?
So we can see Telescope Peak from here.
You sure can.
And of course I can't on the video because it's behind a tree. Let's go get a shot. That's it right there, poking up to the top. Still got a long way to go.
The trail continues the steady grade below Rogers Peak as it turns sharply west, overlooking the middle fork of Hanapaw Canyon. At 2.4 miles, it levels out a little bit at Arcane Meadows, and you get tremendous views into both Panamint and Death Valley.
All right, we're about 2.5 miles in, approaching 9,500 feet, not quite, but getting there. Working our way up toward Bennett, which is up over this steep section. There's Telescope over there. Eventually we're going to work our way along that ridge and up to the top. That's not for a while still. Well, we're working our way up toward the meadow, Arcane Meadows. We can see right behind me up there is, where is it? Somewhere up there is Rogers Peak, and Telescope Peak is over that way, and Badwater and Death Valley is down below. So we've hiked about 2.5 miles maybe to get to this point, and we can feel it. Looks like we got a view in front of us here. Wow. And we do. All right, we're coming to the ridge line. Hey, Jerry, that's not Whitney, is it?
Oh, I don't know. We can't figure it out.
Dude, I think that's Whitney.
Probably is. 6:15.
All right, so there's Telescope, and we're working our way down. We're finally reached the top of this rise where I think it's Arcane Meadows is where we're at. If we decided that we were going to go up and over Rogers Peak, take the fire road back, it's up there. And of course, Death Valley is that direction. And once again, there's Telescope. We got to get to that eventually. But I'm almost positive that that over there is Whitney.
For the next 1.5 miles, the trail meanders along the flat and narrow ridgeline, passing the occasional limber pine and some of the best views in the entire park.
Well, we're working our way up toward Bennett. It's in front of me here, and off that direction is the Searles Valley, and eventually a little farther down the pathway is Lone Pine and Mount Whitney. It's about 10 o'clock, and we're going to work our way over to the other side of Bennett, find a nice spot out of the wind with a little bit of sun maybe, and take a break for lunch. Get some calories in us before the big push. We're about 2.6, 2.8 miles in, and if trail mileage is accurate, we got to do 14 today, so 7 is halfway, and we're only 2.6. It's gonna be a long day. Now we're working our way to the west side of Bennett Peak right now. In the shadows. There's some snowy patches, but it's workable. As we admire our views off to the west and south as we work our way around the end of Bennett here. There's a tremendous view looking south from here. As we get around the corner, you're going to see Telescope. That's our eventual destination for today. Another couple in front of us. Looks pretty tall from here. Yeah, that looks like the Matterhorn, you're right. All right, well, we're working our way around the side of Bennett still. Probably in a little while here, we're going to find a spot for a break and take a little lunch maybe and recoup some of those calories we burned climbing up here so far. What's awesome is we have a tremendous view down to the valley below, and we can see Whitney, entire Whitney Range. We can see Langley and the windows and all of the other peaks along the Whitney Range. We can see across Searles Valley, and it's pretty impressive. And then, of course, go ahead, Jerry. Behind me looms Telescope Peak. And from here, it looks like the freaking Matterhorn. Well, we made it up some of the tougher sections. We still got a ways to go, but we're taking a break here in this meadow before we hit the steep part over there. The great view of all of Death Valley in front of me and all of the Whitney Range behind me. But we're going to take advantage of this warm weather and the cool breeze, and we're going to fuel up here for the summit push. Half a leftover Subway sandwich from yesterday. Thought it'd give me some calories for the climb. Well, our break is over, and we've left a little saddle between Bennett Peak and Telescope Peak. It was a nice spot. We're working our way onto the left side of the east side of this sub peak with views of all of Death Valley below, and on the other side of this ridge is Mount Whitney and out toward Lone Pine and Bishop. And you can see our trail that we came up way over there. So hopefully when we get around this corner, you'll be able to see a little better. Well, we did, in fact, round the edge of this hill. As you can see, our trail going up right there. The backside of that one, and there's Telescope. And just as we get up here a little ways, you should get another shot to the right down toward the Cyrils Valley, which is the direction we came up before we headed on up to the charcoal kilns. I'll go up here and let you get a shot real quick. In fact, Whitney Range is just over there to the right. That's not where we're going. We're going up there. Well, we can see Death Valley. It's down here toward Badwater, and Telescope Peak is just ahead of me to the right. We still got probably well over 1,000 feet to go, but the sun's pretty intense right here. Back at our rest stop, I put on some sunscreen and some lip balm, and Gerry stopping back there, he's putting on some lip balm as well. You can feel it, and we're getting there. That's what we got left. And then behind me, that's Rogers Peak over there. Where is it? That's over here. Rogers Peak is over there with the towers. But anyway, we're getting there. You know, last night when the ranger came by, they said there was a missing hiker. They were somehow, I don't know why you would do this, but they were heading up to Telescope Peak from the valley floor. And at some point they were injured. They managed to get to a spot where they had cell service, and they called it in, and then they lost signal again. Helicopter was searching all night, and it's 11:30 today, next day, and Gerry just heard on the park radio that helicopter was inbound with one patient recovered, heading to the hospital. So hopefully they found the guy and he was alive. Anyway, we still got another couple of miles to go, another 1,000 feet at least.
Limber pines are known to live over 2,000 years. The next 3 miles gains over 1,000 feet as it steeply switchbacks among the ancient bristlecone pines.
Well, I've never not made a peak. I'm about 10,700 maybe. I'm about 300 feet from the peak, and I'm spent. I was getting really slow, and I told Gerry and Dave to just go ahead. I'm really just petering out. 1 o'clock, I told them that my turnaround time's 2. I can see the peak. It's not that far, but I don't know what I got left. I told them I have, go ahead. We usually don't split up. I told them I'm not getting off the trail. So if I get too tired and I can't continue, I'm just going to have a seat on the rocks here and wait for them to come back down the hill. And then we'll head back. But it's only one, so I got an hour. I got an hour to gain this, like 500 feet or whatever it is, a little less. I'm just going to count bottles of beer in the wall and see what I do. I don't want to be so exhausted when I get there that I can't make it down, you know what I mean? It's not that important. This peak will always be here. Anyway, even if I don't make it, I still got gorgeous views. I got to see Mount Whitney. I can see the peak up there. I got all the Death Valley below me. So I'm happy either way. I'd rather return to the car, to the family safe, and not summit, than to summit and be exhausted and have an accident on the way back. So, rather be safe than sorry, you know? Well, wish me luck. Well, I'm not too far from the summit. Still going forward with my attempt. I don't know how much farther I have to go ways, but at least I've achieved this. Looks like the peak is over there. I might make it, you never know. I'll give you a 360 shot here of what it looks like from this location and down into Death Valley. Amazing. All right, well, I'm not too far from the summit. I can actually see it. It's right there. So you never know. Maybe this old codger will make it after all. It's only about 10 after 1. And it's kind of a little level. We'll have some switchbacks over here in a little while, but tell you what, we got some phenomenal views because not only is there a view this direction, I'll spin around, you can see the view behind me over here. That's Death Valley. So I'm getting there. All right, well, there's the summit. That's what I got left. Hopefully I got it in me. As I'm nearing the summit of Telescope Peak, 11,051 feet, I believe. Tallest point in Death Valley National Park, and has very unique features. Besides being the tallest point in the park, you can see Mount Whitney over there, the highest point in the lower 48 states. And then also over on this side, you have a view out to Badwater Basin, the lowest point in the contiguous 48, 232 feet below sea level. What an amazing view. Now you just got to get up there. Well, it looks like I made it. Another group ahead of us taking their celebratory photos at the summit. Congratulations for everyone that made it. It was a tough hike. Highest point in Death Valley. 11,051 feet. Now we only got 7 miles to go to get back. Amazing. Well, we made it to Telescope Peak. I made it to Telescope Peak. Gerry and Dave are right behind me. We're all celebrating on the summit here. 11,050 feet. And what a tremendous view. I had to put on my little fuzzy fleece here because it's a little chilly. There's a group that was here that just left of 4, and there's one guy that's here now. He took our group photo, so that was great. And then his partner's coming up right now. But I just want to show you our view from up here at Telescope Peak. Just phenomenal. We're going to have to get a move on here pretty quick because it's probably going to take us 3 hours to get down, and it gets dark at 4:45 and it's already like 1:30, so we got to get going. But got to get 1 or 2 more shots up here. We worked our tail off to get up here, so we got to enjoy it. Here's our view from Telescope Peak, looking over toward Badwater, toward Mount Charleston and Vegas. As we slowly scan around here, look at the tremendous drop from the peak here.
At an elevation of 10,000 feet above sea level, the air you breathe in contains a little more than 2/3 of the oxygen you breathe in at sea level. The magnitude of hypoxic stress on your body depends on elevation, rate of ascent, and duration of exposure. I live near sea level and typically start to show mild to moderate symptoms of acute mountain sickness as I near 9,500 feet. Telescope Peak sits at 11,000 feet. The human body adjusts very well to moderate hypoxia, but it requires time to do so. The process of acute acclimatization to high elevation usually takes about 3 to 5 days. Therefore, acclimatizing for a few days at 8,000 to 9,000 feet before you proceed to a higher elevation is ideal. Symptoms of acute mountain sickness are similar to those of an alcohol hangover. Headache is the cardinal symptoms, sometimes accompanied by fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea, and occasional vomiting. Acclimatization prevents altitude sickness and improves sleep and cognition and increases comfort and well-being, although exercise performance will always be reduced compared to what you're used to at a lower elevation. Ascend gradually if possible. Avoid going directly from low elevation to more than 9,000 feet and sleeping in one day. Once above 9,000 feet, move sleeping elevation no higher than 1,600 feet per day and plan an extra day for acclimatization every 3,000 feet. Consider using acetazolamide to speed acclimatization if abrupt ascent is unavoidable. You should also avoid alcohol for the first 48 hours at altitude and also discontinue caffeine if you're a regular coffee drinker.
Well, we've only got probably less than a mile to go to get back to the car. It's getting pretty close to sunset. This is see, the sun's setting behind the Panamint Mountain Range, which includes Telescope Peak behind me. So that's why you got such a large shadow over Death Valley, but it is gorgeous. A little bit of sun hitting the peaks. It's a few minutes of sunlight left. And once you round the corner here, we'll be at Mahogany Flats. Should be there in 30 minutes or less. Probably right about dusk, dark. Well, we're not too far from the car, I don't think. This has pretty much taken us all day. I mean, we've started hiking at 8. I didn't get to the summit till 1:20, and only stayed up here to 1:45, and we had to turn around and come back because we knew that sunset is 4:45, and we figured if we got off the top at 2, it'd give us 2 hours and 45 minutes to get down before it got dark. We weren't so much worried about the darkness because we have headlamps and flashlights. We were more worried about the colder weather. And there is some snow on the trail, and if that starts to ice up, then we'll have a whole bunch of different issues. And there's snow right here. I'm walking on it right now. But it's pretty hard packed, so it's not so bad. And it's in small patches. You can go around a lot of it, but sometimes you can't. But anyway, we're working our way down this last stretch from Telescope Peak. Be a total of 14 miles for a day hike. It's a long way for somebody 60 years old, especially with a over 3,000 foot gain. But anyway, we're almost there. Be a welcome relief to see that trailhead sign. No doubt, I could sure use a beer right now. Well, we're almost back to the car. It's 10 to 5. Thought we'd be back a little earlier. The car's got to be right around the corner. We're all tired. This was a tough day. It's 14 miles and almost 3,000 feet of gain and steep terrain. It's really hot, believe it or not. It was really hot along the top. We were totally exposed to the sun, and even though it was only 55 or so, it felt way hotter than that. So I imagine the cars are probably here any second. Gerry said it was a half a mile to the car, and that was 10 minutes ago, so we got to be getting real close. And in fact, here's the road coming down from Rogers Peak. So the summit sign, it's got to be right here. All right, well, we made it all the way.
Check your idea.
So we're finally back at Mahogany Flats Campground. Now we just got to walk to the campground. We made it back. Telescope Peak. Jeez, it was a tough day.
Okay, so this isn't my first high altitude hike. I've been to numerous peaks in Southern California over 10,000 feet, and I even climbed up Mount Whitney at over 14,000. I'm well aware of its effects on my body, but just because I know what it does to me doesn't mean I necessarily take all the recommended precautions. On this adventure, I was breaking most of the rules. While we did arrive at Mahogany Flats at 8,300 feet the night before, 12 hours was clearly not sufficient to lessen the onset and extent of acute mountain sickness, or AMS. I had been drinking coffee and consuming alcoholic beverages, several of them, and was most likely dehydrated at the start of the hike. I also wasn't very hungry this morning, and I only ate a small bowl of oatmeal for breakfast. 240 calories was hardly enough carbohydrates to fuel me on this 3,000-foot climb, where I expected to burn over 3,500 calories.